What's going on? I was having a bit of a time finding a new release that I could review, and I know Hades 2 came out, but that's a story-driven game in early access, so I'm not exactly keen on it because then I'd have to review it again, and I read their whole thing that there's going to be a true ending, so that's kind of out of the way right now. So I decided to work on other videos with different topics, and as I'm writing, I see Bears in Space, and I just knew I had to try it and review it, so the question that you're going to have the answer to at the end of this video is Bears in Space worth the $20? But before we get there, first, I'm trying a new editing thing with music throughout, so tell me if this feels a little bit more alive or if I should leave it out. And next, I am putting, of course, 3 of my favorite shooters somewhere in the video. Comment what they are, and I'll enter you in for a chance to win this game. It is Steam only, I believe. I didn't see it on my PlayStation or Xbox, so without further ado, my name is Tanner, and this is For Your Money, a different kind of review. You play as Maxwell Adams, a decorated space cadet, a part of a science research vessel. Now, while heading back to Earth, they are stopped by the Bear Mata. Yep, a squad of bears who are asking for the release of the bears that you have taken for scientific purposes. With no weapons on the ship, you have to escape via hyper quickness. Upon pushing that big red button in front of you, your ship crashes and your DNA is entangled with the bear that's right next to you. Your job is to find the crew of the ship in this new land and figure out a way back to Earth. Now, this story can seem like something that we've seen before, and by all accounts it is. But what separates it from other things is how fever dreamish it can feel. The ideas that come to life during the gameplay is just wild, and the reoccurring characters are just as eccentric as the game itself. It's a good example of simple writing but effective execution. And it can feel like it's staying longer than welcome, and that's relayed to you the further you progress. So after meeting a crew member, Max says, "Oh, that's what we're supposed to be doing, finding the crew and getting out of here," or something along those lines. So yeah, they take a jab at the longevity of the game and how it can get sidetracked, but that was never an issue for me because of the gameplay. But before we head there, let me tell you all something. This game does a lot of references, and I mean it is loaded. My favorite director of all time is Dario Argento. I love Italian movies. These devs put in a spoof poster for the movie Demons, which is one of my favorites. Now later down the road, they do a Demons-inspired segment with the motorcycle in the theater. Seriously, look at this. Stop the video. Go buy this game. Not really. I got a review to finish and I need some viewer time. But yeah, this story is a real piece of entertainment, and it makes for magical moments like this to resonate with the niche of players. And behold, it was me. It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it is Bears in Space, and that's how I felt playing it. The game hops around from so many genres. It's a space shoot 'em up, a sports game, and one of my favorites, a rail shooter. But above all, this game is a first-person bullet hell that resembles a kid-friendly High on Life. It's intense and hectic at times. Bullets flying at you by enemies that need to be dealt with differently. Some are going to force you to get close for a bear hug to get their shield down. Others look like raging behemoths, but I promise you, they only look scarier than they are because a rocket's going to do the trick. It's not too often we get first-person bullet hell games, and off the top of my head, I can only recall Mother Gunship. It's not the only one, but it's the only one that pops up right now. And then we have the third-person Returnal that nobody ever talks about. So Bears in Space is a rarity of its kind. It does everything you'd expect a bullet hell to do. Crazy patterns to dodge and weave around. Wide open arenas that offer environmental pieces that can injure you. It's not the easiest game in the world due to having to balance between all the incoming fire and pits of acid and working on killing the robots. However, once you find your groove, you can easily manage the way you maneuver through the levels. Still, if you find it tough, of course we have a combat and platforming difficulty. Another thing that you need to try is get a good understanding of the weapons. Games like this are hard to have a favorite weapon, and you'll have one, but ammo is always going to be a factor. So it is important to use different guns for varying situations so you can learn them and have the upper hand whenever the time comes. Of course, your favorite weapon will be upgraded first. There's no doubt about that. You're going to use it more. Just don't forget about the others. There is a plethora of guns in this game, and they are unique. I mean, one of them is a perfume bottle. It literally does nothing, but we got bubbles. And another is a tiny little anvil slingshot that absolutely demolishes robots. Even the square ball launcher does a decent amount of damage to these enemies. Your options are limitless, and I encourage you to just mess around with the entire arsenal. Now at first some of these weapons might not seem good until you do the requirements for upgrading them, and then they can be a beast. The requirements? Nothing fancy, just kill a lot of enemies and poof, it'll enhance right in front of your eyes. No money required. Money is just for buying the weapons when they first appear at the merch, and then ammo, health, armor, and a secret locator that you can buy once per stop. And all it does is it just pops up a secret nearby indicator at the top of your screen, and when you get close it starts beeping the closer you get. Platforming is another feature that they decided to focus on. It's not challenging, it just adds another mechanic and sometimes obstacles to try and slow you down or prevent you from getting to where you need to go. But it is fun. Really, you're just jumping the pits. No mantle, just hop from one point to another, and sometimes do a little swing from your magnet gun or activate a switch to bring down a platform. Think of it like Doom 2016. It's fun, and it does its job while not being anything overcomplicated or tiresome. Overall, this gameplay is a huge seller for me. It's unique and varying boss fights that'll prove to be powerful, gunplay that is up to par with most FPS games, and it's effective platforming. This game has everything, plus all the genre switches that happen during your time playing adds a huge boost of enjoyment because you never know what you're going to get, which it's neat because we've been seeing a lot of games like this lately. We had Indica recently, It Takes Two, and of course I'm always going to throw a nod at Lollipop Chainsaw when I can. So Bears in Space, it's nothing short of fun, and that's what we the players want, and we deserve it. It's also a good bullet hell starter game for your kids or whoever. It's an icebreaker into the genre, which gives this game a nice upper hand amongst other titles. If you like cartoon-styled games, then this should probably be on your radar. Like I said, a kid-friendly high on life. And if you don't know what that game is, it's from the creators of Rick and Morty, same people who did Trover Saves the Universe. This game is right in that wheelhouse for the art style. Maybe not as creative, but you have to have your limits whenever you want it to be kid-friendly. For the level designs, they are all varying from castles with an NPC village to a literal D-Day to a haunted forest. This game is all over the place, and it just makes sense for how erratic it feels, but it's a good kind of unpredictability, one that we want to see. The two cons that I have fall into this category, and they're nothing breaking or major, but I have to put them out there. First is the voice acting. This one grew on me, and for some it won't, but the main character's voice is one of the most annoying things you're ever gonna hear. Like I said, it might grow on you. I just took to accepting it and wasn't all that bothered by it anymore. And then next we have frame rates. Not often, but sometimes the frames dip with explosions going on when tons of enemies are on screen, and it does correct itself pretty quickly. But again, it only happened to me specifically when explosions were on screen and there were tons of enemies. And so, not really a hinder on the game, but like I said, I have to mention it. Here are some clips of the design for you.
Hey, if you're just tuning in now, you are in for a real treat. You get to see me, Davey Attenbotter. Oh, and what's this? A secondary treat. I've just stumbled upon a rare and elusive Manius Barius of the man-bear genome. Luckily, we are well hidden, and if we stay completely still, they won't notice we are here and will adventure on. Simply sensational. Coming up!
See? We can abort the sequence now.
Startup timer aborted. Activation commencing now.
Look at that.
There's nothing to it. This game is worth $20. I mean, look at the content that is provided by this small team of devs. They poured their heart and soul out for a first-person bullet hell. That, again, is uncommon, and I love to see things like that here. It's not perfect, and it has its problems, but nothing that makes it unplayable or by any means unenjoyable. Support these devs. The indie market is literally carrying gaming industry on its back, and this is just another prime example of it. That's all I got, folks. Comment those games below, subscribe for more videos, and I will be back with something else soon.